Opposites attract in this desert trekking episode of Lupin the Third, where Lupin reluctantly teams up with Detective Zenigata, which ultimately leads to his untimely death. Is Lupin the Third really dead? Probably not. Get ready for lots of laughs, because in this episode of Lupin the Third Part 5, Lupin and Detective Zenigata team up together. Now, it's not like this isn't the first time that this has happened in the franchise, but it's always a joy to see these two characters interact with one another for how incredibly dedicated they are to simply being themselves. Zenigata is the detective, the hard-boiled detective who never gives up and is on a constant quest to hunt down Lupin, and Lupin is a thief who just can't give up the life. You add in Ami in this episode and it ends up being pretty thrilling. I also really love how the episode opened up with Fujiko, who had Lupin at gunpoint getting ready to blast his head off, even claiming that she knows about his secret weapon, which is an exploding wig, I shit you not. But she actually tries to kill Lupin in this episode, which is kind of disturbing, and it certainly brings on the ire of Jigen and Goemon, who look thoroughly pissed off when they actually witness this. So we have Lupin, who is teaming up with Zenigata and Ami. They try to escape in a car to get away from all of these assassins, which unfortunately means they're all going to have to team up to survive. But while they leave, we have that great scene with Fujiko and Goemon and Jigen, and this is the thing. While it looked like Fujiko was probably trying to kill Lupin, this is probably all a part of some ridiculous, elaborate scheme to trick everyone. And I have a feeling that Fujiko's probably in on it, as we don't really get to see the result of her confrontation with Jigen and Goemon. And the way that this episode actually ends with Lupin seemingly getting shot through the head, I think he's trying to fake his death right here, get Ami to safety, and then eventually he's going to try and bust her out again. It's a really elaborate plot, but honestly, I'd expect nothing less from Lupin the Third. Although this is simply all just speculation on my part. That being said, the rest of this episode is really simple. It's basically just Lupin, Zenigata, and Ami making their way through the jungle and through the desert, and shenanigans ensue. It's not really reinventing the wheel or anything, but there are certainly some funny moments, like when Ami tries to analyze the relationship between Lupin and Zenigata, claiming that they're actually secretly in love with one another, which of course Zenigata completely freaks out about, and Lupin takes advantage of simply just to mess with this guy. But what I really love about this episode is that it's all about Ami sort of gaining her independence and seeing how she can actually function in the real world, as she's been something of a shut-in for a couple of years, relying on nothing but interacting with people on the internet. It's when she actually gets out into the desert and realizes how harsh things are that she can't solve all of her problems with technology. And there's a great scene towards this giant trek through the desert where they find this windmill and some water. They get a drink, but of course this attracts the attention of these assassins who are coming after them in a helicopter. But she smartly is able to set up this amazing trap with the windmill, which springs this massive lasso and rope around the helicopter, which brings it down, exploding into the ground, nearly killing all of them and even Ami herself. And it's a really thrilling sequence, and she starts to laugh uncontrollably about it. And it's a great moment as you can little by little see her coming out of her shell as the series is going on. And of course, Lupin is almost solely responsible for doing this, and it's something that he genuinely wants to do as well. He wants to give her a better life, and he wants her to not just be this weird, creepy internet shut-in. And that, again, is one of the best things about this version of Lupin, is how they integrate the classic storytelling and characters from the 1970s into this modern story right here. Even Lupin himself says it in this episode, you gotta love these modern conveniences. But the end of the episode, it looks like they're finally about to escape. They arrive at Zenigata's car, and then suddenly the drone assassin appears, which are these two dudes in ghillie suits who are operating a drone and a sniper rifle, and they're searching for Lupin over this massive grassy field, and Zenigata comes up with a great plan to actually get Lupin out of there by starting a fire and getting all of this smoke around so this way they can't actually see him. But as soon as he pops his head up, suddenly the smoke gets blown away, and we get to see Lupin's head just blown clean off. Just boom, blood exploding all over the place. It goes over the webcam while the people who are viewing are like, oh crap, is this real? Is this really happening? No, it's not happening. They're not going to kill off Lupin here. That would be absolutely ridiculous. And honestly, the fan base would never allow anyone to hear the end of it. really, like I said, I think this is all setting up some sort of massive plan that Lupin has in order to get out of the eye of the internet. In other words, faking his own death. That's my personal theory. But what's the rundown on this episode of Lupin the Third Part 5? Probably my least favorite episode of the series thus far. Not because of the characters or the animation or anything. It was mostly just watching Lupin and Zenigata walk through a desert for like 20 minutes. That was most of it. But there were still some nice, strong moments for Ami in developing her character and gaining some independence with her. The scene with Fujiko at the beginning is also just really interesting because we don't get to see how it ends. I'm almost more interested to see what's going on with there, but like I said, I think this is going to tie into Lupin getting shot at the very end of this episode. It's all a part of some big elaborate plan, and I can't wait to see that aha moment. That's what I live for in this type of series. And it's something that the show has done many, many times in the past, so I'm very interested to see how they're going to do it this time. Zenigata is always a really fun character. Any episode that revolves around him is fun, because he is a noble police officer. He simply just wants to do the good thing. And even legitimately seems like he might want to help Lupin in this episode by helping him get away from these assassins. They could maybe even work out some sort of deal, but that's just not what Lupin does. He lives for the life of thievery. There it is. So, yeah, I just don't have that much more to say about this episode. I mean, animation-wise, art style-wise, there were some really great shots. I particularly love the windmill shot of Ami looking up at the sunset and with the silhouette of the windmill. It looked absolutely gorgeous. There was a little bit of funny action in this one, and the final scene was definitely quite thrilling. That being said, it was kind of a slow episode, and I think more of a build-up to that big aha moment, which is going to be coming in the next couple of episodes. Just look at the preview. I don't even think you see Lupin once in it, but that's because they're trying to hide the big secret. That being said, this is still a really solid addition to the series, and any other complaint I really have would be completely superficial. So I'm going to give this episode a 4 out of 5. Check it out, Lupin fans. I'd love to hear your thoughts about the episode. You can tell me all of them in the comment section below, and how you think Lupin's going to get out of this sticky situation in a combination of getting shot in the head. Basically, tell me what you want to see in the future of the series. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, stay down now, baby.